So many of you have probably heard the story about CD Projekt Red talking about monetization elements in their separate multiplayer mode for Cyberpunk 2077. Now, there seems to be some misconception surrounding the single player versus the multiplayer. A lot of people seem to think that they're part of the same package, but the single player was always meant to be a standalone thing. The $60 you're paying for has always been for that single player experience, and the multiplayer is only now starting deeper development. And it is going to be a separate component to the core single-player game. I think a lot of people are thinking of it like GTA Online, where you've got the single-player and then the multiplayer is like a layer on top of that. But from what I understand, with Cyberpunk, single-player and multiplayer are two separate entities. So it's only now that we're hearing more about the multiplayer aspect. And during a financial teleconference call, it was relayed that the multiplayer component, that they are considering some monetization, wise monetization. Now, there is some debate as to what that actually means. The word microtransactions has been thrown around a lot, and then there are other people saying that monetization could mean anything from microtransactions to just bona fide, DLCs or expansions, that the multiplayer will just be sold as an expansion, as a one-time payment product, and that might just be it. It doesn't have to be microtransactions. It could be, a battle pass, a subscription. There could be all kinds of avenues that don't have to be specifically microtransactions. And so it's interesting to see the debate going on right now. Now, I've said in my previous video that I'm in wait-and-see mode. I'm not going to demonize CD Projekt Red when I don't even really know what they mean by monetizing. They use the term wise monetization, but that could mean a lot of things. We just have so little information, and CD Projekt Red is so early in development with the multiplayer component that they don't even know how they're going to monetize this multiplayer mode. But I do want to scrutinize some of what was said during this teleconference so we get a better idea for how we might be able to interpret this, because there are multiple angles to this. Now, I do hope that CD Projekt Red comes out and provides a statement that kind of assuages concerns. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt because they've always been a consumer-friendly company, and I think they're owed that given how much good they've already done. But at the same time, when the word monetization is thrown around and when details are so vague, people naturally lean towards the worst assumption possible due to the landscape that the AAA games industry has paved over the years. But to further add context to this situation, I want to present the question that was asked before CD Projekt Red answered, because the way this individual asked CD Projekt Red about monetization clearly asked just how far they're taking it and, what we can expect on that front. So before I discuss this further, listen to how the question was asked.
And secondly, on the multiplayer version of Cyberpunk, you haven't given a release date for that, but could you give us any feel for the likely intensity of monetization around that sort of free-to-play game? Thank you.
It's interesting that he calls it a free-to-play game, but that's not something that CD Projekt Red has confirmed. We don't know if the multiplayer component is something that is going to have a separate cost to the main campaign and something that will pay upfront and then be done with, or if it's going to be a free-to-play experience that is going to have various monetization components. But the question that was asked is, how aggressive is monetization going to be in Cyberpunk's multiplayer mode? So for my part, it's clear that this individual is asking about stuff like microtransactions and other forms of monetization, like maybe battle pass or subscription. But microtransactions is the big one. That's the one that a lot of game companies have employed to earn extra money from games long term in recurring fashion. I do believe the question pertained to the kinds of recurring monetization we can expect and the intensity of their implementation. And that's when CD Projekt Red responded with this.
Yeah, and as far as the monetization on the multiplayer for Cyberpunk is concerned, we believe right now it's definitely too early to share any details on that or give guidance. The project is in relatively early stage. We keep experimenting. That's our first multiplayer game. and we checked different options and possibilities, and it's definitely not the time to point you to a certain specific direction on that.
Yes, but you can expect that we won't change our general policy toward deals with gamers, so expect wise monetization and always value for money.
One thing that's true is that the term microtransaction was technically never used by the responder here. So that is a fact. But it is interesting that when asked about the aggressiveness of the monetization, there wasn't an immediate jump towards saying no microtransactions. We're going to say that right here, right now. They're still leaving the door open to that possibility, but that doesn't mean that this is necessarily defined, because the multiplayer aspect of Cyberpunk is so early in development. They really just don't know how this game's going to look like and how it is going to make its money back. So I guess the options are wide open, and it could very well be that in the end they decide microtransactions is a bad idea. Let's go for something else. Let's go for you purchase it one time and that's it, or let's go for some kind of subscription or battle pass type of thing. And it could be that. But the microtransactions has never been denied outright. They haven't jumped to assuaging concerns on that front like they normally would with the single-player Cyberpunk 2077. But the thing is, we don't know one way or the other right now, and it's too early to make any kind of judgment. A lot of people are already jumping to conclusions and saying, well, I'm going to cancel my pre-order for the $60 game I paid. I paid for something that wouldn't be monetized, but that's what you're getting with the single-player Cyberpunk 2077, which is what the $60 gets you. You are getting that Witcher 3 model where it's a full-fledged single-player expansive experience with no monetization, with free DLCs and reasonably priced sizable expansions. The multiplayer, again, is a completely separate thing that they're working on separately. And that's just another game within itself where we have to wait, and we can only deliberate and make a judgment once CD Projekt Red provides additional details. And they have said, the individual here said, that they're not going to break that relationship with gamers, that they're going to monetize wisely. And I especially say this because CD Projekt Red has a proven track record of being consumer friendly. If they were like EA or like Take-Two, Bethesda, Activision, who have a track record of lying, of spouting BS, I would understand jumping the gun a bit. But CD Projekt Red, I don't get the sense they're the kind of company that would stoop to that level. But at the same time, I understand the skepticism. You know, nobody thought Bethesda would ever stoop to the lows they have recently. So some people are wondering, who's to say the same won't happen with CD Projekt Red? I don't know. For my part, I am going to give them, as I've said before, the benefit of the doubt until I see clearer shady signs, because these words are so vague that it could really go anywhere. I'm going to just hold out and trust that CD Projekt Red will do right by us, the gamers, the consumers. Anyway, there you have it, folks. Just wanted to add a bit more context to the situation, clarify some things. The words microtransactions were in fact never used, but they were never outright shut down either, despite the question being, I think, very clearly about the aggressive forms of monetization. As I've said before, I do understand CD Projekt Red is a business. They have to make their money back somehow, but a balance has to be achieved. I hope really that this is just some vague statement they're throwing out there, and that the end results will be something that everyone will be pleased by and everyone will feel is as fair as CD Projekt Red has always been these past few years, and as consumer-friendly as they have been thus far. I hope this is a tradition they'll carry on, and I'm more optimistic than I am pessimistic because, again, of CD Projekt Red's track record and the general direction of the company. But this is just one man's take on this whole situation, and my clarification and further contextualization of this situation. Let me know in the comments below what you think about all of this, what you expect out of CD Projekt Red and the Cyberpunk multiplayer mode, and how you interpret the statements provided about monetization. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.